with On Fire Fit, and welcome back for some more On Fire food. Today I am talking about fasting, and before you get freaked out, if you have not tried fasting, you might be okay with this version of fasting. So I hope that you will stick with it and listen to me as I discuss why fasting might be great for your health and how you can do it in a way that is really livable and doable and won't put too much of a strain on your lifestyle, hopefully. So fasting goes back to biblical times. There are all different types of fasts. You can, of course, fast for long periods of time and just have fluids or water or whatever. There is a type that I'm going to talk about today called intermittent fasting. And this one I like as a more doable but also scientific way of fasting. Now, there are benefits to actually fasting for longer periods of time. Jesus talks about it in the Bible. Some of the things that he says, this can only come out through prayer and fasting. And he was talking to the disciples about a time when the disciples were trying to help with the healing of somebody and it was not happening. And they asked Jesus about it, and he said that through prayer and fasting it would help. This type of fasting that I'm talking about has to do with extending your nighttime fast. So we all know that breakfast is to break your fast from overnight. So this is just an extended window of not eating for a little bit longer period of time and not necessarily having breakfast when you first get up in the morning. There is a lot of science behind this. And let's also just continue to work through common sense and logic. If we want to look back at our ancestors, they did not have food in the abundance that we have nowadays. They didn't have refrigeration. They didn't have cupboards that are full of food. When you were out hunting and gathering, you were able to eat what you got for that day, or some days you might not have anything. But you didn't wake up first thing in the morning and start to gorge yourself on food. They actually, if you look at how breakfast really got started, it started from the breakfast companies. Breakfast companies that were making cereal and things like that wanted to have something that would get people to jump on board and start eating breakfast early in the day. So this whole philosophy that you needed to break your fast in order to kickstart your metabolism really was kind of started off with the breakfast companies. Of course, along the way, medical things started to get involved with that too. But when we really look at our bodies, we are not made to eat constantly from the moment we wake up in the morning until the moment we go to bed. And a lot of us do that. We eat early in the morning and we're still eating late at night. The idea behind intermittent fasting is that during the night, while you're in a fasting mode, your body is actually going into repair mode and kind of like a detox. Your body is kind of clearing out what it already consumed during the day and rebuilding and whatnot. When you're in a state of food coming in, you're processing and you're building and you are continually in that mode. When you go into a fasting mode at night, your body is able to kind of flush out a lot of this stuff, all the byproducts, all the things that your body is able to get rid of. A lot of that's going on at night. Also, we have hormonal things going on in our bodies that are really helped by not having food constantly in there. I don't know if you have realized in your own sense, when you eat late at night, how it makes you feel and how you sleep. Most people don't sleep as well when they've had a meal late into the evening. We know that we should eat earlier. That seems pretty common sense, and it's true. So our bodies will do better if we can try to get our last meal of the day a little earlier in the day and not eating right up until bedtime. So what you can do, and what I recommend, is to start with just extending your nighttime fast just a little bit. See if you can do that for a while. So I really encourage people to try to stop eating by 6 or 7 at night, and don't add any more food into your body after that. A lot of times at 8 or 9 o'clock, people are still having snacks or still having a little dessert or having something to kind of get them through the night or whatever. And really you shouldn't need that. If you've already had a good healthy dinner around 6, maybe a little bit earlier, really you should be okay. So then if you wait and you try to extend, so your last bite of food, let's say is at 6 o'clock, if you put food in your body at 6 a.m., that would be a 12-hour fast. We're looking for, hopefully, getting to a point of a 14 to 16-hour fast. Now, I'm going to say this as a caveat right off the bat. If you have diabetes, if you're elderly, if you have health problems, if you have issues with hypoglycemia, you should talk to your doctor first. One thing that I do know to be true is we were not meant to have to eat every 2 hours all the time. But if you get low blood sugars pretty easily, or you feel like you're constantly dipping down, your body has gotten too fragile. You should be more resilient than that, but you're not. So I wouldn't want you to follow my recommendations and drop into a low blood sugar state and feel rotten or pass out or anything like that. If you just start with getting really healthy foods into your body, not eating junk, not drinking sodas, not having added sugars, your body will start to get to the point where you don't need food every couple of hours just to survive. So that really that is not the way God made us, to have food every 2 hours or we just drop into low blood sugar. So we have to be paying attention to what food we're putting in our bodies. If you are already pretty resilient and you are okay, don't have low blood sugar problems, you don't have diabetes or some other health concern, then you can try extending that fasting window. So most of the time I really try, if possible, to make my last meal end around 6, and then I don't eat again until 8 or 10 the next morning. And that's about 14 to 16 hours. And in that process, when I first wake up, I drink a big glass of water. I do usually have some coffee, but I don't put things in my coffee, so that doesn't break my fast. And by the way, I have gotten to where I am on almost all decaf, just a little caffeine sometimes. You could have tea, but you don't need to have food in your body right off the bat. And again, follow what I just said about your health. But that would be better for you to start with extending that window a little bit. If you find that you don't feel good that way, then just shorten up that window a little bit. See if you can just extend it perhaps a little bit from what you're used to. Your body will actually start to reset and get better and get more used to this kind of thinking. We've gotten to the point where we really think that we have to have food all the time in order to survive. And I think we need to get off of that mindset and really get back on track with listening to our body cues, paying attention to how we feel. And really, even just this getting rid of nighttime snacking might all by itself make a big difference in your health, because a lot of the calories that we eat after dinner are really unnecessary and they're usually not the healthiest. If you are really hungry after dinner, you would eat a big plate of vegetables. But if you're going and grabbing a little bit of ice cream, or you're getting a spoon of peanut butter, or you're eating some cookies or chips or whatever, you are not really hungry. You're having a craving, and that craving is not really an accurate signal. So if you were really hungry, you would eat a plate of vegetables. Just saying. And that's what I like to tell the kids. So anyway, let's start with that. Your action step for today, with the knowledge that you know right now, is to start to pay attention to how long it is that you're fasting at night. And if you don't have any other health conditions, start to see if you can extend that window. Try to move your dinner up a little bit if you can, and try to extend out your breakfast. If you don't feel hungry right in the morning, you don't have to eat right away. If you do feel hungry, but you're like, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm really that hungry, I'm just used to this feeling, see if you can extend it. Drink your water, drink some tea, and if you feel pretty good, try extending that out a little bit longer and see how you do with that. And you will be amazed to find out that you usually have more energy when you don't have food right off the bat in the morning. At least that's what I've experienced, and I've found that to be true with a lot of people. So I would love to hear back from you. Have you tried intermittent fasting? And if so, what are the results? And just let me know if you have any topics that are interesting to you and you would like me to talk about. And otherwise, I will see you in the next episode of On Fire Food. Go out and live that abundant life on fire.